Hey guys, World at War Escalation is out, and in this video we will take a look at the 7 new cards that are coming with this mini expansion. We will rate them from 1 to 5 stars, so you guys might have a hint how good a card is and if it might be worth to craft it with wildcards or if you want to buy the whole package. So let's not waste any time and jump right into it. Alright guys, here we go. Starting with the Sakura Regiment, another tool for Japan aggro decks. A 1/3 infantry with 1 credit deploy cost and 1 operation cost that has +2 attack if you have fewer cards in your hand than the enemy. 3 health on a 1-drop is very good with the potential to have 3 attack, and the condition is very easy to fulfill for Japan aggro deck type, because they usually play a lot of cheap cards and get rid of their cards very fast. What I don't like about this card is that it's not having blitz and the 1 operation cost. I think this card might be just too slow to play it in really aggressive Japan-German aggro decks, for example. So I'm not the biggest fan of it. It is good, 3 health. Helps a lot, especially in the mirror against all these 15's Cavalry regiments, for example. They have only 1 health and 2 attacks, so this thing survives an attack into this. So I think I give this one 3 stars, I guess. It's not completely broken, it's not useless, it's a good card, and it might be above average. Then the next one, a really cool card and maybe one of the best out of this expansion, in my opinion. We have the 3 credit artillery, 52k, that on deployment is dealing 4 damage to target enemy air unit. Finally, more answers to air units for Soviets. Usually they only have Burning Skies, an order that deals 4 damage to an airplane. And with this, you get for 2 credits more a 2/2 artillery, which is very strong. And if you compare this to Burning Skies, if your opponent is not playing airplanes, Burning Sky is completely useless. Here, you get at least a 2/2 artillery, and that is very good. And that's why I like this card so much. It is a standard card, you can have 4 copies of this in a deck, and I think you don't want to do this. Maybe 1 or 2 of these should be enough. But I think this might find a spot in the Soviet-US artillery deck at some point, because it is very good against airplanes, and that deck usually is not having that many answers against this. So I think it is good for Soviet control or that artillery deck that I mentioned, and I think this artillery is 4 stars for me. Next one on the list is the 5th Medical Battalion, a 0/5 infantry for 4k, which looks really strange. Why would you ever play this? But the text is your other units have +1 attack and are fully repaired at the end of your turn. So each turn your units are just being repaired for 4 credits. This is like Cadet Nurse Corps each turn, without giving your units +1/+1, but the units have +1 health. So I'm not really sure if there's any deck at the moment where this card might fit into. Maybe a ramp deck with some we can do it and then this guy additionally. So it's very hard for your opponent to get rid of your units. And also that +1 attack is a nice bonus. So I don't think it is fitting into that US mid-range deck that we see a lot in the current meta, because I think it's just doing too little for 4 credits. There might be better options, but I think this card has a lot of potential and it can be very annoying. Just imagine a deck with a lot of big units that cannot be targeted by orders, like the M4A1 or the Penta-G. And then you have this guy additionally on the board. So your opponent first of all has to get rid of this before he can get rid of your units, your other units. So I see some potential. That's why I think I give it 3.5. I think it's not good enough for 4, But I might also be completely wrong here and don't see the full potential of that card. But 4 credits only for the heal, it's not that versatile. So only good in specific deck types. So that's why I would only give it 3.5. So another interesting card here, 60s Cavalry Regiment for the Soviets. 3/6 infantry for 4 credits with ambush. And players can only give 1 order each turn. The problem with this card is Soviets have cards like the Sickle, for example, a 1 credit order that is very often followed up by other orders. So you're also just taking yourself the option to play more than 1 order here each turn. But it also shuts down a lot of enemy very annoying decks like Commandos, for example, or Resistance, I think also. But what is also interesting with the Resistance archetype, you can play Soviet France Resistance now. You just give your opponent all the Resistance cards, play that Cavalry Regiment, and your opponent can only get rid of 1 Resistance card each turn. That is very interesting, and I'm excited to see if somebody makes a deck around that. I might try it out at some point, because this looks very interesting and very annoying for your opponent. Because they need to spend an order to get rid of this, and then they cannot get rid of their Resistance cards, or vice versa. So it can be very annoying. So I think I give this one, because I don't think it's completely broken. The ambush is really, really helpful. And I like the ability. So I think I give it also 3.5. It is a good addition, but it is more like a niche. It's not doing that much, like board-wise or board control-wise. But as I said, it can be very annoying. Then we have a Japanese card here, Southern Plan. An order, 4K. You gain an extra credit slot, and the enemy loses a credit slot. So this is, I guess, the first ramp card for Japan, and also the first let your opponent lose credits for Japan. So it's kind of combination of US and Brit tools that they're currently having. And honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of mixing all the different unique playstyles from the factions together. Like at some point, every faction can do everything, and that's why I'm not the biggest fan of bringing that card to Japan. But I like that there's another way to let your opponent lose credit slots. So you could think about a Brit-Japan deck maybe now, together with the 4K order from Britain that lets your opponent lose a credit slot. And so yeah, it's kind of in hour of need, right? In hour of need, you gain 2 credit slots. Here you gain 1, your opponent loses 1. So kind of the card is kind of doing the same in a way. But I don't think this will see a lot of play, honestly. Because Japan has other strategies, and yeah, I think this might be one of the worst cards. So I give it 2 stars. Then another Soviet card here, Machines of War, 5K. Order, add the top Soviet infantry unit in your deck to your support line. And I have to tell you, this might be the new worst card in the game. I mean, there is some cool play idea, like you play this with 272nd in the deck, get this 272nd on turn 5, play Red Banner on it later, have 2 Joseph Stalins, like whatever. But Soviets have so many strong deployment effects on infantry units, like the Naval Brigade, for example. And you don't want to deploy this with Machines of War. So you have to build a deck where you don't have Naval Brigade in it. And Machines of War is just so insanely better than having Naval Brigade in your deck. And that's the thing I don't see at the moment. And that's why I think Machines of War is kind of completely useless. Just imagine, you would also want to have Cuban Cossacks in your deck as Soviets, because it's just such a good card. And you don't want to have a 5k Cuban Cossacks. So I think this card is complete garbage. I give it 1 star and hope it might be reworked soon. Then the final card. I really like the artwork. I think this one is my new favorite artwork in the game. It's just looking fantastic. I like the lightning. I like how the tank is looking. Really insane. And it also has an insane deployment effect. A 4/4 tank here for 6k. It looks expensive, but on deployment, you just add a copy of this to your support line. Just add another M4A1 to your support line. So you have 2 4/4 tanks for 6k. That might be better than 1 8/8 tank for 6k, maybe, because your opponent has to split his removal. If you deploy a big tank there and it's your only unit and your opponent is playing a death from above, it's just dead. Here you at least let one tank survive, and it's always good to get 2 units out of 1 card, and that is exactly what this card is doing, and that's why I like it so much. It might not be OP, but in some decks I think it's just a good addition. Maybe even a ramp, just to get bodies on board that you can trade well into your opponent's units. And maybe you can combine this with the heal deck maybe, with We Can Do It, because you want to have a lot of bodies on board, give them a lot of HP, and then heal them all up so your opponent is not able to kill your board. So, as I said, I like the artwork, I like the ability, and I think it's a good card, but not super broken. So I think I'll also give it 3.5. Maybe with a slightly direction into 4 stars. And that's it, guys. That's it already. I just have to say, I'm not the biggest fan of 7 cards each month. I think it's just not enough to open new strategies. We might just see 1 or 2 of these in 1 or 2 decks, but it's not really shaking up the meta. It's just, okay, new cards, okay, interesting. And additionally, I think all of them are a little bit underwhelming and not really opening new strategies. Maybe 5th Medical Battalion can, but the rest is just, okay, we'll try it out. Okay, it's not good. Let's play our old decks again because they are good. So I would prefer next year just have 1 big expansion again. People are way more experimenting with it, and I would really like to see this. And I would be really interested to hear your opinion about it. Do you like the current format, like 7 cards each month for, I don't know, I'm not even sure how long this is going now, 5 months? Or do you like 1 big expansion with a whole lot of new cards? That would be interesting to hear, because I don't really like the current format, but I might be the only one and you guys prefer it that way, so you have new content each month. Also nice, but I like the big bang, like 100 new cards at one point, and then you can experiment so much more and see so much more stuff. But that's it for the video, guys. Let me know how you like the cards that are coming now or are already out. Maybe you see something completely different, like maybe Southern Plan is broken and I did not see it. And then we hopefully see each other in the stream today and on the battlefield. Bye bye, guys.